to the MMA Fan Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Stu and Blake.
Hello and welcome to the MMA Fan Show. I'm Stu Whiffin. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Blake Harrison. How are you, sir?
Very good, very good.
Good.
I'm very excited. The Champions Prediction Show.
This is the big one. This is the big one.
This is for all the marbles. Everyone has been waiting for this big night.
The numero uno, the big cheese of our episodes. And it's coming right now. Not just yet, though, because before we steam into that, we have a sponsor, and that sponsor is... Oh, I nearly went for it then. Sorry. I know you just took a sip of water there. That's to clear your throat for the full jingle.
For this special episode, maybe you should do the jingle, Stu Whiffin.
Fat candy.
Oh, mate. I didn't feel like you really committed. Were you nervous?
A little bit. Oh, I've never done it before. Nervous? I was on the back foot.
I felt like you didn't commit to it there.
You can't keep having a sip of water and then just put in one headphone on your ears and not do the jingle because you're going for the full setup.
Do you know what? I wasn't sure if you were coming out the headphones properly or not. But
no, it was just a really bad jingle. That's all it was.
Yeah. God, wow. Do we lose money over that because the jingle was so bad?
I imagine so. And fair enough. Yeah. I'll take it out of my split, the millions that we make out of this show.
Well, rocking into 2026 with that one. But yes, Fat Candy, for all your freeze-dried sweetie goodness, we've got a discount code for you. It's SWEET MMA. That's SWEET MMA. And get involved. Give yourself a treat. Don't worry about going down the gym in January. Oh, it's boring. It's cold.
Squares.
Yeah, it's cold and wet outside, guys. Just get some freeze-dried sugary sweets, especially the Skittles, and enjoy yourselves.
Do it.
Right. So, Champions Prediction episode. For anyone that is new, this is where we go through what we did last year and what we're predicting for the end of 2026. Who's going to be champs in every single division in the UFC in 2026?
Mm-hmm.
You haven't listened back to last year's episode, have you?
I haven't, no. You
were a little bit cheeky, though, and you used artificial intelligence to transcribe the episode for you. So you know some stuff, but you haven't really taken it in, have you?
No, I literally just transcribed it and slung it over to you.
Right. Well, I did listen to it all back. So I listened to it back, and I know exactly what went down. So maybe I should lead the what happened in 2025.
Okay.
And maybe we'll see what happens with 2026. It didn't go brilliantly for either of us in 2025. It was very, very close.
You're talking about who got the most correct choices, right?
Yes. Right. Yes, okay. I am. And we're going to do this in a weird way, and I've tallied it up in an odd way as well, but we will work this out as we go. So let's start with the lowest weight class, women's strawweight.
Okay.
So, something else I want to point out to you. I've done something a bit different this year.
What have you done?
I am yet to pick a single champion.
No way.
I am just going to see how the conversation goes and where the mood takes me in the moment. I have not picked a single champion.
Organised people, I know.
I know.
I can't believe you've gone Maverick on this of all shows.
I've just decided I've got loads of notes about like what's going on in the weight classes, fights that have been booked, little things, questions that we need answers to. And as the conversation progresses, that's when I will make my pick. I will make my pick in the moment. I don't even know who I'm going to pick at this stage.
Bother. This show's in bother now. Blake's gone rogue. That never happens.
Right. Starting with strawweight. Obviously, Zhang Weili vacated the belt and Dern beat Jandiroba for the vacant belt. Dern has ended 2025 as the champion. Did any of us predict that? No, we did not predict that. You went with Zhang Weili to be your champion at the end of the year. Obviously, she vacated. She didn't lose. She vacated. I went, and this sounds terrible now, Tatiana Suarez. I wasn't confident, but it was still. I thought Suarez could do it with the wrestling. Did not happen. So neither of us get a point for strawweight, unfortunately. Looking at 2026, there's a few names that are in there. Obviously, Mackenzie Dern is the champion. You would imagine Zhang Weili is going to come back down and fight for the belt. You've got Tatiana Suarez in there, who's got a fight booked against Lupi Godinez, who's doing very, very well at the moment. You've also got Gillian Robertson, who's on a nice little win streak, and she's got a fight booked against Amanda Lemos. Outside of that, you've got Yan Xiaonan, and I think that's all the kind of big names that I'm thinking of down at strawweight. So you got to think who's going to be the winners out of Robertson, Lemos, and Suarez Godinez. And ultimately, I think we're both in agreement here. Zhang's coming back down and fighting for the belt straight away, right?
Damn right.
Damn right she is. Now, let me throw a question at you.
Okay.
If Zhang Weili comes back down and immediately beats Mackenzie Dern, does Zhang Weili retire? No? So how do you see the division playing out then?
I think she took a big gamble going and fighting Chevy. And obviously it was a complete domination by Chevy. Who I'm sure we'll get on to talking about her in a while. I think I picked her last year because I do think she's one of the absolute GOATs. I think she's phenomenal. I think she overstepped by going up, and I think the range, it was just a really bad matchup. Did I think it was going to go the way it did? I probably didn't at the time. I thought that she'd be able to go over that, but it just makes you realise just how good Chevy is as well. I believe that Shane comes back down, and this is her division. This is where she has earned her GOATness, and I think she comes back. She absolutely walks through Mackenzie Dern. I think that's a very, very, that's taking nothing away from Mackenzie Dern. She's seized her moment, and she's got a strap round her waist. But this division is Zhang Weili's division, and she comes back, she takes that belt, and I think, there's a couple of fighters that you just mentioned there that she hasn't fought before that I think, are probably going to be nice little matchups. And I think that Zhang will not be particularly stressed about fighting any of them. And I think she finishes the year the champ still.
Oh, so that's your prediction. Zhang is the champ at the end of the year. Just to throw a little spanner in the works there, she's 36 years old.
Yeah.
She's 36 years old. She's down at strawweight. I mean, surely retirement is not far away, is it?
Who beats her?
You see, that's where you've got me, man. Because I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, she's already beaten Suarez. She's beat Yan Xiaonan. Did she beat Lemos, or is Lemos just not fought her? I can't remember if she beat Lemos or not. I'm going to look that up.
That's a good shout, She fought Lemos.
Yes, she's got a win over Amanda Lemos. Since she got the belt back, she defended it 3 times. Lemos, Yan Xiaonan, Tatiana Suarez. Obviously, she beat Carla Esparza for the belt. I mean, if she wins that belt a 3rd time, which I think we're both imagining she will, because I maybe we're being unfair to Mackenzie Dern. I just don't know what Dern has to offer. I don't think Dern will be able to take her down easily, and I think on the feet, Zhang will piece her up. So unless there's a situation where Dern in a scramble on the ground or get a bit of fortune here or there and gets her down and locks up a choke, which is very possible. Dern is so lethal on the mat. I just don't see how she gets her down. Zhang Weili is so good. And then you're looking at these other people. Lemos, she's beaten. Yan Xiaonan, she's beaten. Suarez, she's beaten. Gillian Robertson has to get through Amanda Lemos. And Gillian Robertson is looking good at the moment, but Gillian Robertson, on paper, she's not like... Gillian Robertson is on a 4-fight win streak. But when you look at the names, Poliana Viana, Michelle Watson-Gomez, Luana Pinheiro, Marina Rodriguez.
There's levels to this game, mate.
I mean, even Amanda Lemos is a level up, let alone Zhang Weili. So it just seems like a foregone conclusion that she's going to get that belt back. It's just whether or not she wants to stick around. Winning that belt for a third time would make her the definite GOAT, right? Like, because we've had like issues where we've been like, yeah, but Rose beat her twice, and yeah, but Joanna strung together a bunch of title defenses and all these things. But I think if she gets that belt a third time, it's surely a no-brainer anymore. The Rose defeats are sort of in the rearview mirror. And so there you go. So we're both going for Zhang Weili because I can't see past Zhang Weili for this one. So we're both going Zhang Weili to be champ at the end of 2026. I don't think anyone is shocked at that. No. Let's move on to men's flyweight. So Pantoja was on a fantastic run, doing really, really well. And out of absolutely nowhere, it seemed, Josh Van had one of the best years in MMA history, surely. Didn't he have like 4 wins and going from maybe unranked or just very, very low down in the rankings, he became the champion.
You listened
unbelievable.
Back. You listened back. Did we even mention Josh Van on this episode?
Absolutely not. No. I don't even know if he was ranked. I don't know where we would find that information, but I don't even think he was ranked. And you had Pantoja that from 2023 beat Moreno for the belt and went Moreno, Royval, Urseg, Asakura, Kai Kara France. And then obviously the Josh Van thing. I mean, look, all credit to Josh Van. He caught that kick. He pushed him over. These things happen in MMA. But it was by no means an indication of Josh Van is a way better fighter than Alejandro Pantoja. That's not the case. So this is a really interesting division in terms of what happens going forward. But in terms of 2025, I picked Pantoja to be the champ at the end of the year. I was pretty confident in that pick, even going into the Josh Van fight. Sadly for me, that didn't happen. And then you picked Manel Kape, who could be a front runner for 2026, but unfortunately, we're still 0-0. No one picked Josh Van. And again, he wasn't even mentioned. I think anyone doing a predictions podcast would never have picked Josh Van. You'd be insane to have picked Josh Van.
I don't think at the beginning of 2025, Josh Van would have picked Josh Van.
Yeah.
Everything. He had the perfect year.
He had the perfect year.
100%. Oh, so
I just want to have a quick look back on it, actually. I'm just trying to pull him up now. And Josh Van, his 2020, he also fought in December of 2024. 7th of December, he beat Cody Durden. And then it was 2025, Ray Sura. Can't pronounce that name very well. I'm doing a Stu Whiffin. Bruno Silva, Brandon Royval,
let's throw in the mix as well. Like probably fight of the year as well that year.
Yes, and fight of the year. Yeah. Oh my God. So like, you can't come into the UFC. He came off a loss to Charles Johnson in 2024. Beat Edgar Chairez, who I don't know who he is. Then Cody Durden, who I'm sure would have been unranked, but maybe not. And so he must have started the year either unranked or definitely not in the top 10, I don't think, when he started 2025. And 4 wins later, he is the champion of the world. Absolutely insane. So neither of us get a point for that. You had Kape, I had Pantoja. Going into 2026, what are the big players to you in 2020, or who are the big players in 2026 for you?
Well, look, I think a lot of the conversation should begin around. We spoke about on maybe the last 2 episodes. He's Pantoja essentially. Like how bad he's talking a very different game to what I think most of us that saw that injury were expecting the fallout of that to be. You know, he's saying it's not that bad. Blah blah blah. If he can recover and he can come back and fight like the Pantoja we've seen for the last couple of years, then I think that division could very easily become his manner again. Like I think, you know, he's more rounded, more well-rounded than the champ, and
We're both on the same page that he would walk straight back into a title shot, yeah?
100%. 100%.
He has to, right? Yeah.
And if not, then, geez, the UFC are doing him a dirty because, my God, that guy, he's earned that and some. But I'm not sure. At his age, I'm not sure that recovery might be as quick as I'm sure he and lots of fight fans are hoping. Now, if, let's just say, he's not going to be fighting any time in the next 6 months, we've got a champ that's just won the belt that took no damage, that he's young, healthy, and probably eager to cement his legacy and maybe, prove to the world that he's the rightful champ because he's, an incredible striker and a fantastic fighter. So I think that's going to put him in a position where I'm imagining Manel Cap will be up there. I do think he's a more again, we spoke about this on previous shows, more marketable fighter than Tyra. And so I think they will probably lean towards Manel Cap. Now, let's just say Cap beats the champ, right? And then Pantoja's fit. Does he walk straight back into a title fight if the belt has changed hands from the person that he lost it to?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think
I'm not disagreeing. I just wanted to throw that out.
No, I think whoever is the champ, Pantoja fights the champ straight away. Whoever, whether it's Josh Van, Cap, Tyra, whatever. I mean, I think we're thinking to ourselves, Pantoja coming back is the big thing in this. How does he come back? When does he come back?
Yeah.
Josh Van will probably defend the belt before he comes back. I think it's whether he faces Tyra or Cap. And I think you're right. I think the UFC, Cap's given them some issues outside the cage, but he is more marketable with the knockouts and all that kind of stuff. Tyra could get a title shot this year. Pantoja comes back and walks into a title shot for my money. I mean, this belt could get defended 3 times, maybe more, depending on how results happen. I would say Kyoji Horiguchi is an outsider, because he has to fight. He's got a fight booked already against Amir Albazi. If he wins that fight, he's maybe one away from a title shot. And you could easily do Horiguchi versus Tyra or something like that if Cap's fighting for the belt. So there's a lot going on there. And obviously the main thing is, when does Pantoja come back? Because I do think he fights for the belt when he gets back. So with all that said, where do you think the belt ends up at the end of 2026?
Around the waist of Manel Cap.
You think Cap beats Van, and then maybe Pantoja comes back and he beats Pantoja?
Absolutely that. And let me just say, Manel Cap versus Josh Van is going to be my prediction for Fight of the Year as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, I don't hate it. It's interesting. I mean, Cap has been in some fantastic fights. He's also been in an absolute snoozer against Muhammad Makayev. But yeah, I think you could be right. I think Van fights Cap or Tyra, probably Cap. And then I think Pantoja comes back. And Pantoja I favour against Van. And Pantoja has already beaten Cap. And as much as maybe the injury will deplete him a bit, and age is obviously creeping up on him, and Manel Cap is, he's got dynamite in those hands. He's
getting better and better.
And he's getting better. But I just think Pantoja's he's got that zombie about him. He can take a punch, and his grappling is no joke. And these people that we're talking about, Cap and Van, I don't see them being able to deal with Pantoja's grappling over 5 rounds. So I think Pantoja comes back and the old man puts that crown back on. He comes back, he regains it. He's the champ by the end of 2026. So I'm going Pantoja, you're going Cap. We've both got exactly the same picks that we were wrong with last year.
But let me just say, right, nothing would make me happier than seeing Pantoja returning healthy and winning that belt back. I think that would be, and then retiring. But I just don't see it happening anytime soon. And I think with a new champ, I think, for a division that a little while ago we was going, he's cleared it all out. Like, what's left?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, like, there's quite a lot happening in there. And having someone someone fresh with that belt around their waist, I think makes for lots of exciting opportunities in that division.
Yep, I agree. Right, let's go on to women's flyweight. And finally, someone's got one right. At the end of 2025, Valentina Shevchenko is the women's flyweight champion of the world. Stu picked Valentina Shevchenko, so he's 1-0 up. I picked Manon Fiorot, which looks terrible now because she was dominated by Chevy, wasn't she? So, yeah, not great for me. Let's move on to 2020. Let's not linger on Stu getting a point. Let's move on very, very, very quickly. 2026, obviously, Shevchenko, still the GOAT. You've got Natalia Silva, who I thought was the number one contender already, and she's stepping in to fight Rose Namajunas. I can't remember who is out. I don't know if it was... I can't remember who was out of that fight, but Rose was set to fight someone. Might have been Blanchfield or... No, it wasn't Blanchfield. Can't remember who it was that she was set to fight. That got cancelled, and Natalia Silva has stepped in. So Rose Namajunas will be fighting Natalia Silva, who I believe is the number one contender at the moment. So a win for Rose. You could put on a super fight there, even though Rose may not deserve it 100%. Rose versus Shevchenko is a huge fight. Would do very good numbers, I think. And then Macy Barber is fighting Alexa Grasso, former champion Alexa Grasso, still in the mix. Erin Blanchfield and Manon Fiorot, two people that have fought. Well, no, Fiorot fought for the belt and lost. Blanchfield has come up short once or twice, but she's still a fantastic fighter. She's still very, very young. So there's lots of names there that could end with a belt in 2026. How do you see this going, Stu, with him? Because I've got a couple of worries here that are very common going forward in the UFC this year, and that is we've got a champion that I think maybe won't get beat, but will either vacate with the belt or retire by the end of the year. And Shevchenko is one of those that I think could do that. So where do you see the belt ending up in 2026, and how do you see the division playing out?
I think Chevy fights this year. And I think she might get a win. So did you say Blanchfield scheduled to fight Fiorot?
No, but that would be a good fight to do. I don't think that is booked. I'll look it up while you keep chatting, though. Okay, right. And there's obviously nothing in the pipeline as yet for Chevy, is there? There's been no rumours. No.
I've not seen anything announced. Look, Natalia Silva's been looking great as well. I've got I do think there is a world where Manafro gets another pop, and I think that I don't think she's a particularly bad pick to pick her again. Like I know you got it wrong last year and I got it right, but I don't necessarily think that she's a bad pick for this year. But again, it depends. It's quite a funny year, isn't it? We're just already kicking things off with talking about Pantoja, when will he come back, and and I'm sure we're going to be talking about people retiring when we get to the next division of women's fighting as well. I think Chevy fights twice this year. I think she fights maybe I don't know, April, May, and I think she'll get a win. I think she'll fight at the end of the year and then retire the champ. Who they are, I think Fiorot will be one of those. And there is a world where if the results go the right way for Thug Rose, then she could find herself getting up there just because she's Thug Rose and she's a fan favourite. Is she as much as a fan favourite as she was? Probably not. But I do think there's a world where that fight could happen. A nice little legacy fight to finish off Chevy's career. I'm going to go with Chevy.
Chevy's the champ, so she's not going to retire before the end of the year.
I think she sees out the year as a champ.
She sees out the year as the champ with maybe, 2 fights this year? Interesting.
I love the fact you've not chose anyone.
I've just written something down and I'm not sure about it.
Making me uncomfortable that you're not
I feel
organised.
uncomfortable about it. Right. Okay. So I think Natalia Silva beats Rose Namajunas, and I think Natalia Silva fights for the belt against Chevy. I think against Chevy.
And Chevy, that'd be Chevy's first fight of the year.
I'm going to have to change my pick because I've just realised something. So she fights for the belt against Chevy. I just think maybe I think she's so good. I love Natalia Silva. She's brilliant. But Chevy, if she gets hold of her, that could be real problems for Natalia Silva. I do think she's very good, though. Does she beat Chevy? I don't think she beats Chevy. I can't pick someone to beat Chevy. So then what happens in the rest of the division? Because I think, and this is, I think Chevy vacates and towards the end of the year moves up in weight and fights for the Bantamweight belt. So I'm going to leave that there, which means Chevy vacates. So I'm thinking you've got Manon Fiorot, you've got Blanchfield.
So you're suggesting, right? Look, we'll get onto it in the next weight class for women, right?
Yeah.
But you're suggesting that at the end, potentially, of her career, she gambles potentially finishing with her career with no title, like by vacating to go and fight a GOAT.
Yeah, she's the bullet. That's what she does.
Fair play. Fair play. I don't know who's turned up to do this podcast with me tonight, but I'm liking it.
Right. So I need to work this out. This is where I should have written it down because now it's going to take me ages to work it out. I'm going to do this quick. I am going to throw out there because I really want it to be Silva, but I think if she fights Shevchenko, she might be in trouble and then she won't get to fight for the belt again.
Right.
So I'm gonna go with Fiorot. I think this is a bad shout. I'm gonna go Fiorot. I picked her last year. I'm picking her this year. Manon Fiorot is my pick to end 2026 as the champion.
Okay.
Done. Manon Fiorot. So who did you go for? You went for Chevy. I've gone Fiorot. Again, the same as last year. Flyweights. We've both picked exactly the same. Might as well just copy and pasted what we said last year. Right. So now let's move on to, let's move just because of the way I've got this laid out on my thing. We're going to move on to women's bantamweight because it's potentially linked. So we're currently 1-0 to Stu for 2025. Women's bantamweight, it didn't see a lot of action. You picked Amanda Nunes, who did not come back and fight.
Yep.
I picked Kayla Harrison, who did get the title shot, which we all knew was coming. She won. It's now 1-1 between Whiffin and Harrison. Thank you to my namesake for getting me that point. 2026. Obviously, the first title defended in 2026 will be the Women's Bantamweight Championship. Harrison versus Nunes in like a couple of weeks. So I suppose it's how does that fight go? And whatever way it goes, could there be an immediate rematch afterwards? That's something I'm unsure of. So, and the other thing is, if either one of them wins, could they just retire? These are the things that are in my head is, if Harrison beats Nunes, does Harrison go, I've done all I can do, I retire? Or if Nunes beats Harrison, does she beat her up and go, look, I told you I was the best. I've done it. There's no one really left. I'm done. Retire. The belt's vacant. Or if it's a close fight, do they go, hey, we need a women's fight at the White House. We're going to do a women's title fight, the rematch between Nunes and Harrison at the White House. And that's another one that could happen. So So I think both women might get 2 bites at the cherry on this. There could be 2 fights between Nunes and Harrison this year.
But I'll tie it. So where does Shevchenko factor into this, Blake Harrison?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, sir. So, if either woman gets a dominant victory, I think either woman could retire. Now, if Nunes wins, I think she could just retire and go, I was here for one fight, I'm done. This is ridiculous. Like, I'm just the best. If Harrison wins, there could be one fight left that interests her. Because let's be honest, fighting the Macy Chassons and whoever of the world, I just don't think it's going to motivate Kayla Harrison. Maybe fighting at the White House against the Raquel Pennington or someone like that.
I mean, are you completely removing Pena from any of this conversation?
Well, Pena's lost to both of them. I mean, if Nunes wins, you could do the trilogy with Pena.
This is what you know full well. If Nunes wins that, she'll be cage side. She'll be all over the socials because that's what she does, and she's good at it, and it seems to work for her with the UFC.
Yes, but again, because they're fighting in January, you would assume this belt could be defended 3 times this year.
Mm-hmm.
So if Nunes wins, you could do a rematch against Harrison. You could do the trilogy with Pena, but that could happen at the White House in June. And then you got 6 months. So, and I do think Nunes could just retire. Harrison equally could rematch Nunes, or the one fight that could really interest Harrison, maybe at the White House, Valentina Shevchenko comes up in weight. And that is a name on the resume that Harrison will want. The only name. There's no one at Bantamweight that she cares about other than Nunes, and maybe if Valentina comes up in weight. Equally, if both women retire after 2 fights or whatever it is, there's a world in which there's a vacant title fight for the Bantamweight belt in December of 2026. And to give it name value, you give it Valentina Shevchenko versus insert name here, Juliana Pena, Raquel Pennington, whoever you want. So for me, the Bantamweight champion of 2026 is Valentina Shevchenko.
Fucking hell. It's gone rogue again.
Yeah. Because she can do it. Nunes has been out of the cage a long time. I don't think she'd fight Nunes because she's fought her twice already. Harrison, if she gets hold of her, she's in trouble, and the size difference will be a big, big factor. But Shevchenko's so good on the feet, man. You never know. And against anyone like a Pennington or Pena, I'm going to favour Valentina Shevchenko. So, yeah, Chevy is my bantamweight champion at the end of 2026.
This is the one that I really struggled with.
Go on.
I really struggled with this because it's not the most active of divisions, is it? And so much of it depends on how the GOAT looks when she comes back.
Yeah.
Like, if she returns the fighter that she was when we last saw her, I don't see her retiring like this year. I see her just getting...
But who's left for her to fight?
Well, but who's left for Kayla Harrison to fight? And like, there is
Valentina.
Here we go. Like, look, I'm not mad at that pick. I don't necessarily think that's a bad shot, Blake. But there isn't you said insert name. I don't know. Like, I'm just going to go for a wild one here because I do think Kayla's not going to keep doing them weight cuts. Like, if she beats
the other thing. The weight cuts are a lot.
If she beats Nunes isn't going to fight again. I'd be surprised if she'd fight again with no belt on the line. I don't know. And I think if Kayla beats her, she cements herself as one of the all-time women's greats. I don't think she's a GOAT like Zhang or Nunes, but she's up there. She's done all she can do really in that division, and that's all you can expect from a champ. And so let's just say that Valentina goes up to fight for a vacated belt, or a belt that is no longer held by anybody because people have retired. I'm going to go for a ridiculous pick here. I'm going to say that Juliana Pena beats Valentina Shevchenko and retires and finishes the year as a champ.
I mean, Juliana Pena's not a bad pick because Chevy might not want to go up. She might stay at flyweight and be happy there. And Pena is probably your number one pick to fight for a vacant belt because there's not
who
much
else is there
going
in
on
her
in that
league?
division.
Because
exactly, yeah.
There's Kayla and there's Nunes. And I mean, look, let's not overlook what she done to Nunes in that first fight. And it was very impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, Nunes come back and made her pay for it. But, you know, Juliana Pena is elite level. And I think, you know, if there's an opportunity for her to fight anybody that isn't Kayla Harrison or Amanda Nunes, there's absolutely no reason why she's not walking home with that strap around her. And if it's against Valentina, Juliana Pena versus Valentina Shevchenko, I'd love to see that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd much rather see Valentina fight Kayla or Nunes again. But as it stands, rogue pick, Juliana Pena.
Yep, so Pena, Shevchenko. Interesting. Neither of which have got a title fight booked.
No.
Valentina Shevchenko, not even in the division. So pretty long chances there, but you never know. Bantamweight, men's bantamweight. Merab was amazing all year. Merab was fantastic, but he just overstretched. I think that fourth fight was just one too many weight cuts, too many things going on. And Petr Yan just completed an unbelievable turnaround of his career. At one stage, had lost 3 or 4 on the bounce, and now is the champion again. We both picked Umar Nurmagomedov to be the champion at the end of the year because he was scheduled to fight Merab straight away. 2 rounds into that fight, Umar was winning it, and then Merab just did Merab things, and he pulled back the last 3 rounds. You were picking Sean O'Malley. You were very close to picking Sugar Sean, and then you flipped to Umar right at the end. Neither of us got that right. 2026. There's a few fights booked, not title fights, but you've got Sugar Sean versus Song Yadong. You've got Umar Nurmagomedov versus Figueiredo. And then the question is, how do they book Yan? Do they do the trilogy with Merab? Or if Sugar gets an early win against Song, do they go, do you know what, Merab? No, you can fight someone else. We'll have Sugar versus Petr Yan in a rematch there because that could sell. Very interesting. Interesting to see what's going to happen. I personally would like to see Merab take some time off, which means Yan could potentially fight someone else before fighting Merab again.
He's not that guy.
He's not that guy. That is the thing. They could go straight to the trilogy. I don't know, but I think whoever wins, if Sugar beats Song really well, he could see himself in a title shot because he's so marketable. I think Umar walks over Figueiredo. I don't think Figueiredo has much for Umar Nurmagomedov at all. Song Yadong, if he beats Sean, that's a big name, but I don't think it makes him as marketable as what a trilogy would be between Yan and Merab. So I'm not sure. What do you think? How do you think the division plays out? Who's the front runners for you?
Right, I think Merab comes back in probably, let's say, middle of the year. I think he's going to take, maybe not even that long, but I think he gets the rematch with Yan.
You don't think Yan has to defend the belt before June?
I'm not necessarily saying June. Sorry, I might have been a bit ambitious, but I think Petr Yan's first fight is a rematch with Merab, 100%.
Okay.
And I think Petr Yan replicates what he's done again. I think he's just worked it out, and it was so apparent in that fight. He just got his number, and it was such a vast difference from obviously the first fight, which couldn't have gone any worse for Petr Yan. So I think that this is, Petr Yan beats Merab again, and in the meantime, I completely agree with you that Umar goes through Figgy quite comfortably. I don't know where to factor Sugar in here at the moment, because I do think it all comes down to Song Yadong. If he gets a one-punch walk-off knockout, then he's knocking on title contention. For me, I think Petr Yan beats Merab again, and I think Petr Yan loses the belt to Umar Nurmagomedov.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about the fighting Merab first or not, but that's where I'm leaning. I think Umar walks through Figueiredo. I think if Sugar Sean beats Song Yadong, Umar might have to wait a bit longer for a title fight. And that'll be a problem because that belt might only be defended twice this year. And if one of them's already Merab and Sean O'Malley, if Merab and Jan fight first and Jan wins and Sugar has beaten Song Yadong, I really think they're going to do Sugar versus Song Yadong, and Nurmagomedov's going to have to wait till 2027.
They're going to want Sugar at the White House, mate.
Maybe. I don't know. I do think Umar versus Petr Yan is the fight. As just a pure mixed martial arts fan, that's the fight I want to see. I want to see Umar versus Yan. I think that could be a really special, high caliber fight. Grappling, striking, everything will be absolutely on point. Oh, the fact that you've gone Umar makes me want to change because I was thinking Umar. Do you know what? I am going to change. I'm going to go Yan. I think Yan keeps the belt. He beats Merab and then he beats either Sugar in a rematch or he beats Umar.
Oh,
I know. I was going to go Umar, but because you've gone Umar, I'm like, no, I'm going Petr Yan. So your pick is Umar Nurmagomedov and my pick is Petr Yan to stay the champ at the end of 2026.
Jeez,
right.
I'm loving this.
That's it. This is going to be interesting to listen back to next year when I work out who won. Right, up to featherweight. This is one of a couple of weight classes that really has screwed us over this year. Like, no one was expecting Ilia Topuria in January of 2025 to just go, I'm going to move up to lightweight. Like, it was kind of very frustrating.
Because there was so much more for him to do in that weight class. Like, he shouldn't have
so much more. No, I agree. It was really annoying. But it obviously worked out very well in terms of like Islam moved up, so he moved up. And yeah, it was annoying, but it's one of those things. We got the return of Volkanovski. He proved that outside of Ilia Topuria, he's the best 145-pounder on the planet, beat Lopez. And now, unfortunately, we've got Lopez versus Volk 2 coming up, which, is in like the last week of January. 2 pay-per-views or PLEs, however people want to describe it now, at the end of January. And Volk Lopez I think it's in Sydney, I think. It's very frustrating that Lopez has just gone and got one win. Volk hasn't fought anyone else. And there are contenders there. There is Mobzar. There is Lerone Murphy. And that has been really, really frustrating to see that, Volk's not going to be fighting Lerone or Mobzar in Sydney. It's going to be Lopez again. And that's not to say Lopez can't win. Lopez can crack. He's a very, very good fighter. But I just don't want to see. I want to see a fresh fight. Lopez needs at least one more win before he deserves a title shot again, especially against the guy that beat him. I don't think either of these two men will fight for a belt this year, but Jan Silva is booked to fight Arnold Allen. If Arnold can just fight more than once a year, once every 18 months, he could find himself with a title shot, but he's just not fighting enough because of injuries. It's not his fault. It's just one of those things, but it's disappointing as a fan of his to see him sidelined so often when you want to see him achieve his potential and maybe fight for a belt one day. Another thing with this weight class is we've got a champion that is definitely at the back end of his career. Does Volkanovski retire? He's got a great opportunity to go out on top if he beats Lopez in Sydney, in his home city, and go out on top, lay down the gloves with the belt. But according to him, I've seen him on interviews saying, oh, no, I'm not going to retire. So I don't know what happens with the belt in 2026, Stu, with him.
Well, I think a lot comes down to Lerone Murphy and Mobzar. And
do you think they put them two together to fight each other?
Yes. And do I think that's not the greatest matchup for Lerone? Yes. I don't think that's a good matchup for Lerone Murphy. for me, Lerone should be fighting Volk in Sydney. Like, that should be happening. Look, Evloev's a fantastic fighter. You know, we anytime we mention him, we obviously mention the aforementioned Arnold that you just said. You know, we feel that Arnold got that win over him. But I do think he's the real dark horse pick of you know, for me this year. I want Lerone to be the champ this year more than anything. But there's just something about Movsar that I think they might really drag the year out, because I don't necessarily think the UFC want him to be a champ, because he's not Mr. Charisma. He's not a rock and roll star like Sugar Sean O'Malley, or, you know, he's not got much sort of shtick about his fight personality. But I think at the end of the year he will get a shot, and I think he'll take that shot. I kind of think that Lopez is going to beat Volk in the rematch. I watched that fight again a few weeks back, and my knowledge of it originally was that Volk just absolutely done a number on him, and I watched it again, and it didn't seem quite as what's the word I'm looking for? Quite as convincing as I remembered it. There was rounds where Lopez looked fantastic, and I think Lopez is an absolutely fantastic fighter. And I think we could see the end of the year in some way, shape, or form, being Movsar versus Lopez, and I think Movsar might take it.
Oh, is that your official pick, Movsar? You've taken me on a bit of a journey there with him, because
I'm not happy about it. I don't think he's an exciting champ at all.
No.
I think after Gene Silva's a really exciting fighter. You know, Lerone is look what he done in his last fight. That is what's going to sell fights. Highlight reels like that. You know, go and watch Arnold, like, absolutely starching Dan Hooker. Like, you know, I don't know. I'd love it to be Lerone, but I've just got a feeling that it's going to be Movsar this year.
Yeah, I would love it to be Lerone as well. I do think if they put Movsar and Lerone together, I think I'm favouring Movsar in that fight. I'd love it to be Lerone. I really want it to be Lerone, but I just think maybe
we've got no reason to count out Lerone on this, because he's undefeated. He's undefeated. He's done nothing wrong. I just don't know that. Like, what Arnold Allen did so well in the Movsar fight was he was able to scramble really well with him, and he's so strong, Arnold, and he's got really underrated ground game. I think that Lerone is a better striker than Arnold, but I think Arnold's stronger, and I think he's got better ground game. So I think Arnold did well against Movsar, where Lerone, that grappling, I think he could struggle with. Yeah,
that's where I'm thinking Movsar might do Lerone. Again, I really hope I'm wrong.
Yeah,
if they put those two together, nothing would please me more than seeing Lerone spinning elbow Movsar, incredible. And he walks into a title shot. That would make me so happy.
Arnold and Lerone have definitely been the most frequent guests we've had on this show.
Yeah,
they've been fantastic every time. You know, we've had them on. They're such lovely men, and just keep them apart. I don't want them to fight. That's
unless it's for the belt.
Last thing, unless it's for the belt. Yeah,
unless it's for the belt. Yeah, so I don't know. So I'm thinking maybe Movsar. You've scared me about the Lopez thing, but last year, I think I understandably picked Ilia Topuria to be the champ. We both picked Ilia Topuria. Yeah. I don't know if I said this. We both picked Ilia Topuria to be champ last year. So neither of us get a point. I picked Ilia Topuria to be champ last year. That was the first time in years that I hadn't picked Volkanovski. And he went and got the belt back. I love Volk so much. I can't not pick him. I'm going Volk. Volk beats Lopez. I'd like to see him have a slower year than normal, maybe only defend the belt twice this year rather than 3 times, but knowing Volk, he's going to want to defend it 3 times. And he probably does fight Movsar. You know what? I think Volk's got a good chance against Movsar. Volk's got really good grappling. He's got that low base. He's prepared for incredible grapplers like Islam Makhachev that are better than Movsar and bigger than Movsar. So I think if Volk goes against Movsar, Volk's got a great chance of winning that fight.
Oh, you're really freaking me out now. Now I'm thinking I picked wrong. But yeah. I just, of course I want Volk to beat Lopez again. You know, Volk's, who doesn't want Volk to be the champ? He's the nicest guy in MMA.
Great.
But
he's getting old though, isn't it? It's got to stop at some point.
Do you know what? When you said it's in Sydney as well, I just think, there's just something that makes me think he's going to lose at home. And I don't.
I know what you mean. Because, I mean, the knockout against Islam, then the knockout against Ilya. I mean, he was able to take strikes well against Lopez in the first fight, but Lopez does crack, man. And in that fight, I was watching it in the hotel lobby in Sydney, funnily enough, when I was over there. I was watching it on my phone in a hotel lobby, and anytime Volk was hitting Lopez, I was like, oh, yes, go on. Well done. Anytime Lopez was going forward and hitting Volk, I was like, oh, God, I think he could get knocked out. There was just a real difference in power. And Volk has got to go into the firing line, even though I think he's technically a better striker than Lopez, and deal with a guy that's younger, maybe faster, and hits harder.
And Lopez must be so hungry right now. He's been gifted another crack at it. Right.
Yeah, and he can take what he learned from the first fight. Maybe in the first fight he was so desperate that he gassed out a bit or was just swinging too much, and he can be a bit more conservative in this. I think Lopez is a harder fight for Volk than Movsar. But I have to just hope that he gets through it. It's going to be one of the ones I'm watching through my fingers, Volk versus Lopez. But I think if he does that, I think he's got the tools to beat everyone else in the division. So I'm going Volk. And you're going Movsar. Interesting. There you go. Over to lightweight. Finally, we both get a point again. No, we don't. Oh, no. I was thinking, that's so stupid.
The weight division below, weren't you?
No, I was I got that wrong. We both picked Islam Makhachev, obviously, to be the lightweight champ. We did discuss the potential of him moving up, but not enough. I'll tell you what I did say when we were discussing lightweight. I said, and I quote, what if Ilya went up and faced Charles and I'd favour Ilya?
I mean,
half point? Half point for that?
What, fuck off. Like, that's a good shot, mate, but you ain't having a point or even half of that. No way.
Oh, not half point.
Just bring us back up to speed on scores. It's 1-1 at the moment, right?
Still 1-1, mate. We've been pretty shit this year.
Well, everyone's been moving around divisions.
That's the thing. Everyone's been, because I still think Ilya at 145 and Islam at 155 are still the best in their divisions, but they've moved up, so it is what it is. So lightweight. Obviously, we weren't expecting Islam to necessarily move up. Ilya's gone up there, smashed Charles Oliveira. And then obviously he's had all these personal issues that are still ongoing. And this division now looks all over the shop with Paddy versus Gaethje lined up for an interim title fight. No news on when Ilya Topuria could come back. He's obviously got these personal issues with the divorce and all that going on. Arman Sarukian is clearly the number one contender, but has not been given a title shot. Will he get a title shot this year? Will they just keep pushing Arman away? When will Ilya come back? Will Ilya fight this year? Is it all going to be very messy divorce and he doesn't fight this year? There's loads going on in this division. Obviously, we got Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira for the BMF belt, but regardless of the BMF belt, that's two very high-profile, top-level fighters in the lightweight division. So that might have implications on where the belt ends up. The undisputed belt ends up at the end of 2026. So yeah, there's a lot going on here, man. How do you wade yourself through all of this muddiness?
Paddy beats Gaethje.
Yeah.
Max beats Charles, calls out Paddy. Max beats Paddy. Arman beats Max. Arman retires. Sorry, Arman finishes the year as the champ.
So Ilya doesn't come back this year?
I just can't see it. I just think it's
really?
It just feels like...
I think Arman being the champ is a good shout. The way you've done it, I'm not sure. But I think Arman could eventually get the title shot.
All right, I'll rephrase that. Let me reframe it then. Let me reframe.
Well, no,
it.
if Arman's still your pick, how it happens,
Arman is still
matter.
my pick, like 100%. Do I think Arman beats Ilya if he fights Ilya? I think so.
I think he could do as well.
Like, and I think the UFC can't keep denying him because, it's not like he's, skirting around the top 5. He's the number 1 guy in that division, and he's made it look easy. Like, you've got to give him his shot, and I think how we get there, I'm not 100% sure because I've also factored Max into something else, so I might.
Right.
I might. But I still think if Max beats Charles, he does call out Paddy. If Paddy beats Gaethje.
I think that's what he should do.
Yeah.
If that's what happens, that's what he absolutely should do.
Yeah.
If you're Max, try and fight Paddy because no one really wants to see you fight Ilya again just yet. If you beat Charles, especially in any kind of way like you beat Gaethje for the BMF belt, oh my God, you try and call out Paddy for sure. Or Gaethje. If Gaethje beats Paddy, I mean, I don't know who's going to win that fight. I do think Paddy could beat Gaethje, but equally, I wouldn't be shocked if Gaethje beat Paddy. I think Holloway versus Oliveira is a great fight. That could potentially go either way. I think I'm leaning Holloway, but that could go either way. If Arman gets the shot against anyone outside of Ilia Topuria, he's winning. If he fights Ilya, I think he could win that as well. But because you've picked Arman, I'm going to say that at some point this year, Ilia Topuria comes back. He fights the winner of Gaethje Paddy. He beats them. And then he has to defend the belt maybe once this year after reclaiming the belt. Well, not reclaiming, it'll be an undisputed versus interim. So he beats whoever the interim champ is. Then he defends again, probably against Arman, because he's already beat Holloway and Charles. So probably against Arman. And that will be a coin flip for me. On the week of that fight, I might pick Arman to win, but right now I'm going to pick Ilya to win. And if Ilya comes back later in the year, there is always a chance that we've seen Paddy or Gaethje fight Holloway or Charles, and then, you could do Ilya versus Paddy, Ilya versus Gaethje. Whoever the interim champ is, it doesn't matter. He might rematch Charles or Max, and I would favour him to beat all 4 of those guys. So I'm going to go for Ilia Topuria to be champ by the end of the year.
Okay.
Right. Up at welterweight. Again, this is why I keep doing differently to you. We kept picking a lot of the same people last year. And we both picked Shavkat Rakhmonov last year.
Why wouldn't you?
I thought you picked JDM. But you didn't. You picked JDM to be champ in 2026. And I thought you were going to pick him for 2025, but you just shifted to Shavkat. But you picked JDM to be champ at the end of 2026. But we both picked Shavkat. Did not happen because Shavkat did not fight at all this year. This is one of those divisions where nothing is booked yet. All the top names are free. No one is booked. You've got Islam, Usman, who I do think might get the shot, which is terrifying. I hate that should not happen. Usman versus Islam is not the right fight to make. But you've got Shavkat. Hopefully he comes back. Ian Gary, Morales, Prates. They're kind of the big names in this division at the moment.
JDM.
And JDM, yes, of course, JDM.
I did see yesterday Leon's back training. I don't see Leon getting a shot this year.
No, not at all. So no names are booked. So the big question is, I guess, 2 things. Will Islam Makhachev fight Usman? And if Islam Makhachev beats Usman, which I think he absolutely would if that fight's made, does Islam Makhachev retire? Because there's talks of Islam retiring. So how do you see the division going?
It's such. I mean, we moaned about this on the last episode. Like, Usman versus Islam is just a fight that, I don't know, like, I don't see why anyone would want to watch it. It's like, that is one of the most exciting divisions. And there's super fun fights to be had there. That's not one of them. But do I think it's going to happen? Yes, I do. And I do lean to, when we saw what Habib done with his early retirement, and what's Islam got left to prove, really? I mean, don't get me wrong, he's in a division of young killers now that are all up for it. But, two-weight champ, arguably one of the greatest to ever do it. What a legacy, him and Habib have got. But would he fight? Would he want to fight Shavkat? Like, is that on his agenda? Does he fight Usman and retire? But then Shavkat comes back, and let's say Shavkat does a real number on, I don't know, a JDM or I mean, he tried to do a number on Ian Gary, and it didn't really work. Now, I'm going to go for a bit of a rogue one. And I'm going to pick Morales as my champ this year. I do think we don't see a lot more from Islam, and I just...
What, you think Islam retires after fighting Usman?
I can't see what else he's going to do, unless there's a Shavkat fight, and then that if that happens, then the winner of that will probably be the end of the year. I don't see it being a 3-fight year for that title. I think with Makhachev, I think it'll be 2 fights this year. And if Shavkat
he's
comes
not
back,
massively active, is he?
No, and I think then part of me thinks that Makhachev beat Shavkat. I think that's a possibility, but I don't think there's anyone in that division. Like, Ian Gary is fantastic, and I'd love to see Ian Gary fight for the belt. And I think he's got every opportunity to win the belt should he fight anyone in that division. He's so well-rounded and fantastic.
Yeah.
Has anybody in that division got that dynamite that we have seen in the hands of Morales? Morales is clearly an exceptional striker. He's stance, he's odd, everything about it, I don't know. I just think he's got that Tapuria thing where if he puts his hands on you, you're going to sleep. And I just think he could have a ridiculous year this year. His confidence must be through the roof. He's young, he's hungry, and he just hits like a fucking truck. And I've just got a feeling that he might just put people to bed this year.
I mean, look, I can see it. I can definitely see it. If he gets an early win and he's putting pressure on, I don't think Islam's going to be very active. I would really hate to see him fight Usman, but from what I'm hearing from other people is that looks like it's probably going to happen. I really hope that's not true, but it might do.
Shavkat comes back. Does he instantly fight for the belt?
I don't know. I'm not sure he's been away so long. I'm not sure if he does.
But who do they give him? And they're not going to necessarily
could be
rematch
JDM.
Him with Gary. Maybe JDM,
No, could be JDM. Could be Bilal, if Bilal gets a win.
Yeah, good point.
Could be Morales. Could be any of those guys. It's a really difficult division to pick. And when it's a really difficult division to pick, I think a lot of the time the best thing is just stick with whoever's got the belt now.
If they make Usman fight Makhachev, do you think they make Morales Gary?
Maybe. It's a great fight. Morales Prates would be a great one too.
Yeah.
Or Morales JDM.
Yeah.
Any of those would be good. Morales JDM would be a great fight.
Yeah.
Love that fight. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go with Islam Makhachev to stay the champ. I'm going to say, I really hope he doesn't retire because I feel, to me, he's one of the greatest to ever do it. Like, regardless of belts and weight class divisions.
Right, sorry.
Sure. But he is one of the greatest. 4 title defenses at lightweight, moves up to welterweight. These are the divisions that it's the hardest to become champion, really.
Yeah.
But for me, if he were to just fight Usman and leave, that to me would always be something that annoyed me about him. I wouldn't think of him in the same way because it would just frustrate me that he's gone the John Jones-Stipe route.
Yeah.
And when there's so many top guys that if Islam Makhachev, can you imagine if Islam Makhachev went, right, I'm going to fight for the next year and a bit or something like that. Give me Shavkat, beats him. Give me Morales, beats him. Give me Gary, beats him. Then you're like, this guy's insane. Then you really are talking top 5 of all time, surely, aren't you?
Definitely.
Because that's the competition is so good at lightweight, and I know that he didn't always fight the best guys at lightweight. Was never his fault though. Arman got injured. Volk stepped up to fight instead of Oliveira for the second time. It wasn't Islam's fault, but to get 4 title defenses in the toughest weight class in the sport, and then to go up to welterweight, if he were to beat JDM, Shavkat, Gary, Morales, then you're like, right, this guy's so good. So good. That's what I'd want to see. A win over Usman and then just going, and I'm done. I feel like it's a lot of... there was so much that we didn't see. That's how I'd feel about that. So I'm going to say that Islam is the champ by the end of 2026. Hopefully, if he does have to fight Usman, he gets through that quick, which he will do easily, and then he fights someone really relevant and beats them.
Okay. Middleweight.
We finally get more points. It's now 2-2. We both picked Khamzat Chimaev. Dricus started the year as champ. It was what we all dreamed. What we all dreamed of was Dricus versus Khamzat. Didn't quite live up to the billing. Khamzat just absolutely dominated him. Khamzat's usually an incredibly exciting fighter. This was not one of those fights, but I think he will continue on the exciting streak when he does fight. The question is, how active will Khamzat be? He's not got a fight booked. It was a while ago that he last fought, I think. How active will Khamzat be? He's not a regular fighter, is he? So what do we think? I'm assuming he fights Imavov for his first title defense at some point this year. And then that might be all she wrote for Khamzat this year. But then maybe he fights someone else. I know Fluffy Hernandez is fighting Sean Strickland. Israel Adesanya is fighting Joe Pyfer, but I don't think the winner of that is going to get a title shot this year unless there's some fallouts and they call up Izzy kind of late notice. Because Izzy versus Khamzat in terms of name value would be a massive fight. I don't think Bo Nickel's going to do enough to get a title shot this year. So I think you're just looking at...
That could be an interesting fight,
I think it could be an interesting fight. I think Khamzat wins it, and I think Bo Nickel, I don't think will do enough to deserve it.
I think Imavov's going to get the shot.
Yeah.
And I completely echo what you say. I think it'll be another relatively inactive year for Chimaev because he doesn't fight that often, even when he's healthy. And yeah, let's just say, I don't know, maybe Dricus fights Sean Strickland or something, and maybe if Sean wins, maybe they give Strickland Khamzat. I don't know. Other than that, obviously, Fluffy's floating about in there.
Well, Fluffy's fighting Strickland, and I think Fluffy wins that fight.
Okay. I did not know that. So, I don't really see sort of your Brendan Allens, Izzy, Baralio.
No.
Obviously, I don't see the UFC being too fond of the Ridder at the moment.
What if Baralio's got a fight booked? I feel like maybe he does.
I don't know. I don't see anyone in there that's...
Carl Borelio's fighting Renier de Ridder.
Yeah.
Renier de Ridder's another one that with a few wins, you never know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know his last outing. I just don't think they've done him any favours with the UFC. Yeah. I don't see anyone in there. If anyone's got a chance against Chimaev at the moment, I think it's probably Imavov. But apart from that, I'm picking Khamzat again this year, by the way.
I think I'm going to pick Khamzat as well. one little curveball I'll throw at you. He's been talking a lot about moving up to light heavyweight.
Okay.
Do you think that happens?
I don't know. I mean, how many times has he defended the belt?
He hasn't.
Like, that's it. Like, so
he beat Dricus and that was it.
Yeah, he's got to fight.
He's got to fight Marvov, right? Yeah. And if Fluffy beats Strickland, I think that's the next fight for him. And do you know what? That's the fight I'd like to see most. I think Khamzat still beats him, but Fluffy versus Khamzat, I think stylistically is the most interesting fight in that division.
Explain that then, because for me, Chimaev just ragdolls him.
Fluffy Hernandez is a fantastic wrestler and he's got an amazing gas tank. Fluffy Hernandez, he absolutely big brother bullied Roman Dolidze. I know Dolidze is no Khamzat Chimaev, but I think Fluffy has got really good wrestling. I just don't think it's as good as Chimaev's. So I do think Chimaev can just pin him down. But those exchanges might be interesting. And the other thing is, Khamzat, he did go 5 rounds against Dricus. One of the big questions about Khamzat has been his gas tank. Yes, he did go 5 rounds against Dricus, but Dricus couldn't do anything. There was nothing that happened. Khamzat just put him in crucifixes and Khamzat didn't have to expend that much energy. So I'm still not convinced that Khamzat can really fight for 5 rounds. If Fluffy Hernandez is there with the gas tank he has...
We've never seen Fluffy Hernandez fight for 5 rounds though, have we? Because
I'm pretty sure we have.
Have we?
I'm sure. I'll have to look up his resume. But Fluffy Hernandez, his whole thing is that he's got an amazing gas tank.
But maybe we've only seen that predominantly over 3 rounds.
I'll have to look it up. So, I mean, a lot of these wins have been, since 2021, finishes, ground and pounds, triangle choke, rear naked choke. I mean, he got a ground and pound in round 5 against Michel Pereira.
Right.
So that was in round 5. Rear naked choke against Dolidze in round 4, where he's just absolutely bullied the hell out of him. Unanimous win over Brendan Allen when I believe he was maybe injured as well. And that was a 3-round fight. So, yeah, but Fluffy Hernandez, I think, over 5 rounds will have way more gas tank than Khamzat Chimaev. It's just whether or not Fluffy can make Khamzat work.
Yeah.
Because Khamzat, what he did to Dricus,
nullified him,
didn't even look like it took much energy. So that's the interesting thing with that. But yeah, so I'd like to see those 2 fights. But ultimately, yes, I'm picking Khamzat. So we've picked the same one there. We're both going Khamzat Chimaev 2026 because, again, he isn't the most active guy. He might only fight once this year. Yeah. So I can see him campaigning for a light heavyweight shot.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets it this year. And maybe that'll be next year. Speaking of light heavyweight, this was the year that Stu coined the name Magomed Megaboring. And Magomed Megaboring did win the belt, and he was my pick to be champion for the 3rd year running. He finally won the belt, and then it got taken straight back off of him by Alex Pereira. I was like, come on, guys. So I think you picked Carlos Ulberg to be champ by the end of the year. It does look like he could fight for the belt next. Maybe you were just early. So the big players in light heavyweight 2026, obviously Alex Pereira champion, Yuri Prochazka after just absolutely smashing up Khalil Roundtree, and before that Jamal Hill. Carlos Ulberg, who looks like he's the number 1 contender at the moment. Ankalaev, former champion. Khamzat, who we just mentioned if he comes up. And an outsider, Azamat Mirzakhanov, who I think is potentially got a shout. And again, this is one of those divisions where no names are booked so far, but Poatan moving up to heavyweight seems to be very, very, very likely this year, I think. So how do you think this all goes, Stu?
I think Azamat could find himself in the mix of things at the beginning of the new year. I think he's got some big fights happening this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, 16-0, he's looking terrifying. Look, I think Pereira.
Oh, I'm just going to have to throw this out there to you. Azamat Murzakanov is booked to fight in April against Paulo Costa, who's coming up to 205. I think Murzakanov wins that fight. But carry on. Just want to throw that out there.
Wow. Paulo Costa's probably got to cut weight as well to make light heavyweight. Look, right, if Pereira goes up, right, I think Pereira fights Solberg. I think he beats Carlos Solberg, right? I think he
so he fights Carlos Solberg before going up, because all he's talking about at the moment is John Jones at the White House. But you think that doesn't happen and he fights Carlos Solberg instead?
Right. Do you know what? Scrap that. Oh God, this is a.
It's a difficult one. Personally, I don't know. I don't think the Jones Pereira fight at the White House happens.
Right. Okay.
I don't think that's going to happen. That's what he wants. That's what John Jones wants. I think Dana White is very kind of like, he's got a real problem with Jones at the moment, and the way he was with the Tom Aspinall fight. I don't think he's going to give Jones what he wants at the White House.
If he goes to heavyweight, the light heavyweight division, look, we know that Yuri Prochazka is a really fun, superstar in that division. But apart from that, it's not a very exciting division without Pereira.
I think
in there.
Allberg can be fun.
No,
but you're right, yeah.
I mean, he's. I don't think the world. I mean, I chose him last year because I think he's a fantastic fighter. But when you look at Magomed and I mean Khalil, I don't really see him in the mix of things at that level. I think he's ranked at 4 and rightly so, because he is fantastic. But I think
Took
that
a
he's
beating, didn't he, off of Yuri in the end?
Yeah. And I think Blachowicz, them days, I think maybe a little distant. Jamal Hill, I don't see really getting back into the mix of things. Or Uzdemir, or Reyes, and Guskov. Did Guskov lose to Murzakanov in the last fight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Murzakanov definitely won, if that's who he was fighting. Murzakanov fought Rakic, didn't he? It wasn't Guzkov.
Right.
Guzkov fought someone else.
Did he fight? He fought Yan. Blachowicz got the majority decision over him.
Or was it a draw?
Oh, well, I thought Yan got the majority decision.
No, it was a draw.
Oh, right. It's not what it says on here.
On Tapology, draw. Yeah, it was. It was a draw. A majority draw is what it was.
Okay. Right. Well, then, yeah. And so, yeah, I don't really see anybody in there that's going to set that. Well, I think the UFC are going to want to try and keep him there, but then I do think there is big money for him at heavyweight. Is there big money for him fighting Allberg, Yuri again, or Magomed? I mean, don't get me wrong, Alex Pereira is going to earn money wherever he fights because he's Alex Pereira, but
if there was a super fight between Pereira and Khamzat Chimaev at light heavyweight, who wins?
Khamzat.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think Khamzat wins that as well.
Yeah.
I don't think it will happen, but I was just throwing it out there.
Yeah. I mean, that would be insane, wouldn't it?
That would be two huge names. It'd be a super fight, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, if Pereira goes up, I'm going to probably lean towards Ankalaev getting the belt if it gets vacated, because I think he'll beat Yuri and I think he'll beat Allberg.
They really probably don't want Ankalaev to be champ?
That's the last thing they're going to want.
They're going to keep him away from the belt as much as possible. I do think Ankalaev's last fight was the loss to Pereira. And I believe Ankalaev will have to get at least one, if not two more wins before he's sniffing a title shot again. And he's not booked to fight yet. So I do think if he fights for the belt against anyone outside of Pereira, or even Pereira, he could win it. Definitely could win it. But
who are you picking?
Will he get a title shot
for this belt? Because the jury's out on this one.
So I am thinking if Poatan beats Allberg first before any kind of heavyweight move, then it's going to be Yuri versus someone else for the vacant belt because Poatan will move up. Or Poatan just moves straight away and they do Yuri versus Allberg for the belt. I'm thinking Yuri beats Allberg. I don't know if he beats Ankalaev, but I definitely think since seeing that first fight, that second fight between Poatan and Ankalaev, that Ankalaev has shown that if you come forward and just go for it, you could clip him. He might get panicked and you could clip him. He doesn't like that. He wants a considered fight. And Yuri Prochazka brings the chaos like no one else brings the chaos. So I think Yuri is going to be my pick to be champ at the end of 2026. Yuri Prochazka, I think he can beat Allberg. He can beat Ankalaev. It's going to be difficult. And I don't think Poatan's going to be there. And I think Yuri Prochazka's got such a granite chin that he can take the punches off of anyone else outside of Poatan. And
you think he can take
that.
the punching power of Mirzakhanov?
Mirzakhanov does it good, but yeah, I think he might be able to. He does get hit though, man. That is the thing with Yuri. That chin is all in the air and he gets hit. But it's like what I said with the Khalil fight. That man can only be knocked out by Poatan. Outside of that, he can't be knocked out.
You're going Yuri.
I'm going Yuri. Yuri Prochazka 2026.
I want to go Azamat 16-0. I'm just going to go for it.
If Poatan beats Allberg, then I really think Azamat could fight for a vacant belt against Yuri. I think they could do, because I really don't think they want Ankalaev there.
No, so they're not going to want Blachowicz there, and I don't think Khalil. I just think
he needs a couple of fights, doesn't he, Khalil?
Yeah, I think they're going to look at his record and just go, it's a bit of fresh blood, and he's got a highlight reel.
Yeah. So I'm going Yuri, you're going Mirzakhanov.
Yeah.
Right.
Big
Up
boys.
to heavyweight. Another one where it's just a bit of drama. Last year, the whole start of the year was, is Jones going to fight Aspinall? Is Jones going to fight Aspinall? It was going on for ages. Did not happen. Most of us were not surprised. We did both pick Tom Aspinall to be champ at the end of the year. Even though this year's not gone the way any of us wanted for Tom, he is still the champ. So it's currently 3-3. We've got 3-3 with one division to go. So we're 3-3 there for 2025. In terms of 2026, you would imagine Tom Aspinall is going to have to rematch Garn. Not booked yet. Tom also is having eye surgery as far as I'm aware. So when Tom comes back, I don't know. Will Tom get stripped? I think that'd be a terrible look for the UFC after what they put him through with John Jones. But I don't know that they give too much of a shit about that. Tom hasn't been the darling of the UFC the way that he was a year or so ago. Since that Garn fight, he had his dad talking about him going to boxing and doing all these things. The UFC, I think, have taken that really badly. Dana White himself had that terrible moment in the press conference where he was just sort of suggesting that Tom didn't want to continue in the fight because he got beat up a bit. The guy's having surgery now. Like, I think we can all admit, yes, this was a terrible eye poke. When Tom comes back, I don't know. Will he get stripped? Will he have to vacate? I don't know. These are all things that are really, we're really unsure of. Poatan versus John Jones at the White House. It could happen, but I don't think it will. But it could. It could also happen outside of the White House as well. You've also, just to throw it in there, Waldo Cortez Acosta has been talking all that stuff about Tom Aspinall after he got poked in the eye by Ante Delia and still come back with a win in a very odd fight. And he's fighting Derek Lewis in maybe February or something like that. So the winner of Derek Lewis versus Waldo Cortez Acosta could very well be getting the title shot next after the Garn-Tom rematch if that happens, unless we get a Poatan or a John Jones thrown back into the mix. Loads of craziness going on. How do you see it going down?
Try my pick.
Well, talk me through how you think it's going to go, and then with your pick.
title picture is on hold for maybe another 4 months, maybe even longer. They do Cyril, Tom. Cyril beats Tom.
Oh, why are you saying this?
John Jones goes, I'll have some of this. John Jones comes back, beats Cyril Gane, finishes the year the champ.
I think if Gane is the champ, Jones ain't coming back. He just knows. He's like, nah, done that. I'm good. Doesn't need to. I think Powhatan versus Gane would be a hell of a fight at heavyweight. I think Tom's going to fight Gane. I don't think he's going to get stripped or anything. I think Tom fights Gane, hopefully soonish. Let's hope that eye properly recovers. And I think Tom needs to change up the game plan a bit and just go, we need to wrestle this guy early. No messing around with spinning kicks and all that stuff that he did in that fight and having a laugh with him. None of that. Rugby tackle him. Do to Gane what you said you would do to Pereira if you ever fought him. Run across the cage and rugby tackle him. That's what you do. Tom beats Gane. Tom then fights either the winner of Luis Waldo Cortez Acosta or Alex Pereira. And he beats them. And Tom ends the year as champ.
That, what you've just said, would be the dream.
Yeah. But you're going Jones. That to me is a real maverick pick. I really don't see that happening. I'm going Tom. What I love about this is we've basically picked different people for almost every division. I think there's only 2 or 3 that we've picked the same one.
This
so
was, as soon as I started thinking about it, that was my only one I went to straight away.
Yeah, interesting. So that's it. So now, our last division, the BMF title. It is currently 3-3. At the end of 2025, I predicted that Max Holloway would be champion. I was correct. I get a point. And you predicted that Dan Hooker would be the BMF champion at the end of 2025. Like I mean, what were you thinking, Whiffin? So I win. 4-3 to me. Finally, I think you've won the last 2 years, so I'm quite happy about this. Neither of us have done particularly well, but
no,
I
think a lot of that was out of our hands, just through people just like moving around divisions.
Yeah, if Islam and Ilya had just stayed where they were meant to stay, it would have been like 6-5, and that would have been way more respectable.
Well done, Blake Harrison.
3-4. Thank you very much, sir. Right. 2026. Max versus Charles is scheduled. I think it's happening in March. So we know it's going to be defended at least once. Gaethje is fighting for the interim belt, but Gaethje is a true BMF. You never know. Gaethje versus Charles or rematch with Max, I'd watch it. No problem. Michael Chandler could be considered a BMF. I don't know about that. But Max Holloway versus Michael Chandler would sell. I think I can see Max winning that fight if it does. I do think Dan Hooker is a good shout. I do think Dan Hooker is a true BMF. And definitely before he hangs up his gloves, he should fight for the BMF title one way or another. And him versus Charles Oliveira or Max Holloway is an absolute banger of a fight. Yes, please, take my money. That's a great shout. Outside chance for a Benoit Saint-Denis to get in there? I don't think he would, but maybe he does. So I suppose with all those names out there, the big questions are...
Right, go on. Let's clarify this, right? Because are we saying that BMF is essentially just lightweight?
That's my thing.
Because this affects my pick.
Well, yeah. See, here's the thing. It's not just lightweight. It's whoever's the BMF champ. If Max Holloway defends his BMF belt...
Don't do my pick.
Then... fights for like the lightweight belt and they go, oh, we need a BMF title fight in November or something like that, or at the White House, let's do it at welterweight or featherweight or whatever they want to do, then that's it. Surely the BMF belt is no longer Max Holloway's. I don't know. Do you have 2 BMF champs, a lightweight BMF champ and a welterweight BMF champ? Doesn't feel right, does it? But you don't want to strip Max after what he did to Gaethje and then if he beats Oliveira. So it's a very tricky one. It is a tricky one. is there another? Is it just whatever BMF belt is defended last? If there's multiple in different weight classes,
right? Max
all right, I
Charles.
think Max beats Charles as well, but I do think Charles has got a good chance. I think Charles is great, but I do think Max beats Charles.
We've got a title shot coming out really, really soon that I think could be a really tough matchup, and I don't think that Max Holloway, that Alexander Volkanovski wants to retire on a loss in Australia. If Max has got that BMF belt, I think, and let's say Max loses to, let's just say, Paddy Pimblett for the interim belt, or if it's the belt, or whatever that works out, that leaves that BMF belt still around his waist, and Volkanovski wanting one last hurrah. And I think, does Max fight Volk for the BMF belt at the end of the year?
You've lost me on that pick. Firstly, Volk does not count as a BMF. Volk's an amazing fighter. Love Volk to death. He's not a BMF.
But the BMF champ has fought Volk 3 times.
Yes. And he's not a BMF. He doesn't count.
So what counts?
BMFs are like Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira, Dan Hooker, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier,
Benoit
Nate Diaz. I said maybe Benoit Saint-Denis. Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal. They're BMFs. There's something about it. There's an aura. There's something. Volk is lovely. Volk is funny. He's not a BMF.
Max is lovely.
Yeah, but he's a BMF. He points to the ground and he's like, "Come on, MFer, let's go." That's Max Holloway. He's true BMF. Max Holloway is a BMF. I don't think Volk counts as a BMF at all. I think there's no way Volk's fighting for a BMF belt. I think if Max fights Oliveira and wins and then he's fighting for an interim belt, he's not fighting again this year. So, yeah, I think your pick is terrible, Stu. It's absolutely god-awful. I think Max Holloway beats Charles Oliveira. And then I think lightweight is so convoluted. There's so much going on. You've got Arman, you've got Ilya coming back. I don't think you give it to Max. I don't think Max fights Paddy or Gaethje or anything like that. I think Max stays in the BMF lane. And maybe he defends it against Dan Hooker at the end of the year.
Really?
And he beats Dan Hooker. Yeah, he beats Dan. Dan Hooker's a BMF. He's got to get a BMF. I'd like to see Dan get one win before fighting for a BMF belt.
I mean, come on. Look, we are big fans of Dan Hooker, but I mean, he didn't have a good time in his last outing, and I don't see why you then give someone like a shot at a belt.
But it's not a real title. It's a joke title. It's a BMF. You've got to earn your status as a BMF by the way your character is, by the way your fight style. Like Michael Chandler is on a huge losing streak. If you put a BMF title fight up there and Michael Chandler was fighting for it, I don't think you'd get too many complaints. Michael Chandler goes in there and just goes to war. Yes, he gets beat more often than not lately, but he goes in there. Dan Hooker is the same. Dan Hooker is just an absolute warrior that goes in there and brings it and is laughing on his stool after getting smashed around for a bit, going, "I love this shit." And then he just goes out for the next round. Dan Hooker's an insane human being. I love him. He's a BMF. Max Holloway's the same. Charles Oliveira is the same. Justin Gaethje is the same. Dustin Poirier is the same. People like BSD and Chandler, I can understand if you're like, meh, but I think there's a case. But those other guys, it's indisputable. What for me is just like what you're unsure about, I guess, is there another weight class with someone that you could say, well, that guy's definitely a BMF and he's in that weight class? I mean, he's got bigger fish to fry, but Poatan's a BMF.
Is Conor McGregor a BMF?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't not in the good way. like he's not a BMF in a good way, is he? I mean, we're giving everything else, but I think he would. If there wasn't all these other horrible shit and allegations, he would count, yes, as a BMF. I'm just quickly looking at some other weight classes here. I think Alejandro Pantoja would count as a BMF, to be honest. But again, these people are like, they're champions, so they're sort of above the BMF thing at the moment. So
who are you picking?
I'm picking Max Holloway to be the BMF champ at the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, Max Holloway. I'm trying to look at other divisions, see if there are any other people that would count as a BMF. I feel like maybe a Kevin Holland might count as a BMF. Like, he's not even ranked, but like he could count as a BMF. He's like a sort of just fight anyone, anytime, anywhere. Like Donald Cerrone would have counted as a BMF to me.
100%.
He would have been a BMF. He's never fighting for a belt properly, but he's a BMF. So yeah, and to me, Dan Hooker has to fight for a BMF title before he retires.
Look, if you're categorically telling me that you think that Volk's too light and he's not, as a featherweight.
No, it's not about weight class. It's about aura. It's about all these things.
You've made it very clear what constitutes a BMF fighter, right? And I'm not arguing with you. So it means I need to repick, all right? I just think there is a world in my head where Max has got that belt and Volk wants one last hurrah, and I just think that could happen. But
how are you going to feel if it does happen and I've talked you out of it? Because you ain't getting a point. If you change from Volk to someone else, you ain't getting a point if it happens.
So in which case, I'm going to stick with. I'm going to stay down under then, and I'll pick Dan Hooker again.
Oh, you're picking Dan Hooker, not Volk.
Well, I
think that's a better pick.
You've really made me doubt myself.
Yeah, I do think that's a better pick.
Do I think that Max beats Dan Hooker? I do think that Max beats Dan Hooker. But you've chose Max, so I'll go with Dan Hooker.
You don't want to choose Oliveira? You don't think Oliveira's got a better chance of beating Max than Dan Hooker? I mean, Dan Hooker may not even fight for the belt this year, so Charles Oliveira is surely a better pick.
Stop pushing me into picking someone else. You've talked me out of Volk, and now you're talking me out of Dan Hooker, who you was just bigging up. Right,
the voice is in your head. Who are you going to pick, Stu Whiffen?
Horrible at times.
Right. So there you go. So I'm picking Max. You are picking Dan Hooker.
If it happens with Volk, I'm going to be really fucked off.
I haven't made a note of exactly who we've picked, so I don't know if I can do a big rundown of these or not, because I didn't write them down. So we had BMF. I am Max Holloway. You are Dan Hooker. Heavyweight. I am Tom Aspinall. You are John Jones. Light heavyweight. I'm Yuri Prohazka. You were Azamat Mirzakhanov, would you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Middleweight. I was Hamzat. Were you Hamzat as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Welterweight. I went Islam Makhachev. You went for Morales.
I did.
You went for Morales. Interesting shout. Lightweight, I think I went Ilia Topuria. You went Arman Sarukian. Featherweight, I've gone Volk. You've gone Movzar.
I did.
Bantamweight, I went Yarn. You went Umar. Men's flyweight, I had Pantoja. You had Cap. Women's I've missed Bantamweight, haven't I? Women's flyweight, did I have Manon Fiorot and you had Shevchenko?
That's correct.
Women's bantamweight, so I've messed up the order here. I've gone Shevchenko. You went for
Pena.
So none of us are picking Nunes or Harrison for bantamweight, women's bantamweight. That's kind of crazy. And then strawweight, I went Zhang and you went Zhang. Is that everything? Have we covered everything?
Yeah.
I think we have. There you go. So those are our picks.
2 hours worth of podcasting you've got there, gang.
Wow. So, guys, thank you very much for listening and staying with us. Those are our picks for 2026. But the main thing to remember is I won 2025. 4-3 to me. Blake wins and he'll be retaining his belt next year.
There's no winners in this podcasting game.
There is, mate.
It's just a bit of fun, mate. Like,
I'll tell you who the real winners are, mate. Tell you who the real winners are. The listeners. Thank you very much.
Such a wanker.